Okay,
I got my questions up, ready to go.
good.
All right, let's see. I was double checking.
We have two, just me and you.
Perfect. Can you see us in the group?
I can just see. Oh,
Oh, we're in the group. I see us. Okay, perfect.
okay.
Yay. I always like to double, triple check all the things before
Yeah.
get to talking. How's everybody doing? Welcome, Freedom Macro Method Facebook group. We're super excited. You've got a special treat for you all today. I know the story of Suzanne, and I cannot wait. We're going to do our very, very best to get her whole story so that you guys get to be inspired literally by it. I was just talking about you on the nutrition workshop that we do in our coaching community
Oh, I
and told
missed
them
it.
get on and listen to her because I'm telling you, if women in this group, if you're on a weight loss journey and you feel stuck, put the word stuck in the comments. I just want to see who that is. And know that you're not alone, and you will get so much value today that will give you some hope. So stick around as long as you can. Do know the replay will be here. If you're watching the replay later, definitely drop replay in the comments so that we know that you stopped by. But let's get to it because y'all are here to hear a story, not hear me talk, right? And so, just a little insight, and then I'm going to have Suzanne share who she is. So, Suzanne, I will say we were just talking about something yesterday of our very first conversation. Her and I met through Bravenly, our network marketing company. We're both a part of. We're sideline sisters in that industry. And I truly love that industry because it's got me to meet people like yourself, for one. But for two, and she came to me very frustrated, and I remember her words exactly that we were talking about yesterday. She's like, I really just hope that you can help me find the key to unlock my door. After so many years of dieting and feeling stuck in her own body, this woman has we have healed her metabolism. She is the lightest that she's been in over 10 years right now. Her body is still responding beautifully because she shows up and puts in the word, trust the process. And in July, it'll be 2 years since she actually started. So it's been an amazing journey. So with that said, I'd love for you just to, I'll turn it to you and just tell these women who you are. Who's Suzanne? What do you do? What's your day look like? What's your life?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for asking me to share. It is an honor and a privilege to be asked to come on here and share. And it's like, where do I even begin? I am a wife. I'm a mother of three adult children. My youngest just got married. It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. So I work full time. I work in our courthouse. I work full time. Absolutely love my job. I have, I do Bravenly, and I have another side business where I sell activewear. And as if all that, sorry, as if all that isn't enough, I fell into catering weddings. I don't cater, I work at the weddings, but absolutely love it. Don't, it was, so anyway, I do all that. And in the midst of all that, I work out, track macros. And what the heck are macros? That was me like several years ago. What the heck are macros? I several years ago, like 25 years ago, I lost like 85 pounds through Weight Watchers. I literally started dieting at probably age 10. I know that sounds really weird, kind of scary to even mention that like 10 years old. Yeah. And I grew up in in the 70s, and just we didn't know anything. We didn't know any better. And I was overweight, and I needed to do what I needed to do. And my very first diet was a liquid diet. Liquid diet. That was fantastic. I've literally been dieting for 50 years. And that sounds, when I say it out loud, that sounds insane. And so anyway, but the majority of my weight loss was with Weight Watchers, 85 pounds. And I've always kept that off, like maybe, within 20 pounds or so. And I found Angela, I connected with Angela, I was drawn to her through Bravenly, and I just knew that I just knew I needed her somehow. And I came to her because I literally was like I wasn't losing any weight at 1,300 calories. I've done everything from liquid diet, Weight Watchers, keto. I don't even all the things. But I
What
was
would you say
introduced.
was, well, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get you to
Yeah,
elaborate a little bit. You mentioned a lot of diets, and I think there's a lot of women on here that feel like they've been on every diet under the sun, right? If that's you and you can
yeah,
relate, put relate in the comments.
yeah.
What do you think was like the most crazy one? I remember you telling me about one when we were climbing that mountain in Tennessee. You were talking about one that was just
You mean
so,
besides the liquid diet at age
yeah.
10? Yeah. I don't want to call it crazy because it's still out there today. But it was about 10 years ago I was introduced to I mean, if there was a magic pill out there, I would have found it. And I thought this was my magic thing that I found. And yes, I dropped weight because I think I was eating less than 1,000 calories, with prepackaged little snacks and things. And I literally lost, I mean, the weight melted off. But along with the weight melting off, everything else melted off too. Like I was like muscle, and I got to a goal weight for a hot minute, and I've never really been able to go through a maintenance phase. So again, I turned to Angela, and because eating like 1,300 calories, and I might have, I think I might have just come off of keto, and I did keto. I'm not knocking that. That's good for for whoever it's good for. But for me, specifically needed to lose some weight to not take a blood pressure medication. I needed to lose some weight because nothing else was working. Did it work? My blood pressure, for some strange reason, my blood pressure actually stabilized. I've never had a blood pressure issue. But for some reason, and I still don't know what it is today, but my blood pressure was high. And the only thing that the doctor said was, the only thing I can tell you is try to lose 10 pounds. And I was like, wow, how am I going to lose 10 pounds? I've been trying to lose 10 pounds for years. How am I going to lose 10 pounds in 6 weeks? Well, I said, well, I'm going on low carb, and that's what I'm doing. And so, but it's sustainability. It was great for a while, but after a while, I just couldn't do it anymore. So I've done every single kind of diet there was. And in the process, it's like my metabolism just got ruined. I didn't know. Um, And so I reached out to Angela, and we had a conversation, and I was like, and I literally remember that conversation. I was like, gosh, I hope you have the key that opens my door, because I do not know what I'm missing. Like I cannot lose weight on 1,300 calories. And
And
that's how,
I remember you going back. I remember us going back and forth. I think we had multiple conversations before you finally, I think it was a little bit of that fear of, is the macros in this longer term, like, is that real? Like, would you
hmm
say when we first started talking, because you said you introduced at 10, if you, I would love to know in the comments if anybody can remember the number, like what age were you when you introduced to dieting? Because sadly, like that is so, it's more common than many think, because they, whether it was their parents, their mom, usually the female, were usually the ones that are most insecure about our bodies, or diet. And so anyway, what those conversations, we kept going back and forth. I know you were like, maybe should I don't know,
yeah,
I think a little fear, would you say, in making that investment? Where do
of
you think it was more of
course.
a fear of like investing and spending money on yourself, or do you think it was more of a fear of like, is this really going to work? Is there really something out there that's going to help me heal and lose, and for the last
I,
time?
I think it was a little bit of both, but more so the fact that I I felt that I knew what I was doing. Like I fell in love with macro tracking several years ago because I had found an online like a free online training program. And in that community, I found some really good friends. Sandy is one of them, through like Zaya and tracking macros and um but I didn't even know what a macro was. And I was embarrassed to even like, what is a macro and tracking it? But once I learned what it was, and once I figured out how to do it, I became good at it. And I was like, this is like the game of Tetris. And I was like, I am gonna hit those numbers. And I loved it. But I was like, I'm eating like 1,300 calories and I'm not budging. And I was like, what is she going to show me that I already don't know? Like, what is it? And
I gotta ask you. I
yeah,
gotta ask. I'm gonna interrupt you for a second. You said you love tracking macros, and
yeah,
you are one of the very few that have ever told me that you love it.
I
So if
love
you're
it.
watching right now and you love it, I'd love to hear you say love. But I would. How is there anything that how what is it that you love about it? Let's just put it that way, because it's not easy. It's
Freedom, freedom. I've
I love
done,
it.
like I said, I've done everything to give me a meal plan, tell me what to do, give me a meal plan. Well, honestly, it's like I love the fact that I can have whatever it is that I want as long as it fits into my app. And you quickly realize the value of food and what food can do for you. And I just found it to be such freedom. And I probably, it's silly to say that I'm okay if I track the rest of my life. I have no problem with that. Even if I'm not tracking and I go to make some, it's such habit for me to put my bowl on my, I do it a little bit opposite. I put the bowl on my scale and then I add, the stuff instead of putting the product on. You guys probably, I'm not sure if it's making any sense, but I do what works for me. And it just like, I love it. It's freedom, 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 freedom. And do I veer off some way? Yes, I go out and I track the best that I can, but that is the biggest thing for me is that it literally gave me food freedom.
I
Yeah,
love that. If you
yeah,
need food freedom, put freedom in the comments. That's one of my favorite things too. I always loved one of my weaknesses, not it's not a weakness, it's one of my favorite foods is like pizza. I want to have pizza once in a while with my kids and have that sort of freedom. And so
yeah.
many of these restrictive diets don't allow that because if you
Mm-hmm,
eat, God forbid, you eat a couple pieces of a pizza, your most restrictive diets send you all the way back to the beginning and you gained got rid of all you just literally erased all your
mm-hmm.
progress.
And
And
it
macro
also gets rid of the guilt when
yes,
it gets rid of the guilt. Like you can have pizza. There's nothing that you can't have. If you want it, have it. Just track it. So,
exactly. I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. It definitely, and I know we're going to get into this, but it definitely like your mindset changes whenever you can actually have certain things and you're still getting results. Like
Mm-hmm,
again, it's a process. Your mindset changes along with your actual body when you're
mm-hmm,
doing something that allows you to not miss out on life. There's no more sitting on the sidelines while your family enjoys all the fun,
mm-hmm.
but you can't because you're on a diet.
Right.
Um, that's huge. I love that
Yeah.
freedom.
It is definitely a way of life for sure.
Love it. Love it. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So what
Yeah.
made you decide to finally pull the plug and jump in and go for it?
Well, I had never, um, I had never had like a personal coach before because again, I felt like I knew what I was doing. I was doing workouts at home. I was consistent. I was tracking, but I knew I was missing something. And I was like, I don't know what it is. And so I thought, you know what? I learned a long time ago that you cannot pour from an empty cup and that it's not selfish to take care of yourself first. And, we invest in whatever you choose to invest in, it always seems like we are the last ones to invest in ourselves. And I was like, I'm going to try this. And to me, and I was, yes, the cost was like, I, do I not deserve it? It's not that. It's like, okay, well, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this and I'm going to see. And in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to do this for this amount of time. And in my mind, I envisioned, okay, I'm going to be here by this time. And wow, what a shocker that was. Um, Scale did not work. It did not do for me what in my head, like I envisioned total opposite of what actually happened. And it was almost like, oh my, like it's like a halt. Scale did not do a thing. And I was like, all right, this is great. I'm I'm coaching for the first time and the scale's not doing anything. And then when it did do something, it went up. And I was like, this is not working for me. And my mind, I was like, and I just kept going along with the process and things changed. You had reached out to me and you had said, I don't remember. We had a conversation and I think I was really, really just honest. And I said, I don't understand. I'm doing all the things. I'm I'm working out. I'm drinking the water. I'm tracking. I'm doing all the things. And the scale is not budging. I deserve for it to budge. And I was just really frustrated. And I'm like, I weigh more today than I did when I signed up. Something's not right. And I was like, what is it that I'm going to have to do in order for it to move? And she said, you had said, are you willing to try a metabolic reset? What the heck is that? What is a metabolic reset? And she explained it to me. And whenever you said to me, we're going to increase your food. And I'm thinking, increase my food? I can't lose weight now. How am I supposed to lose
Yeah.
weight when I'm increasing my food? She's like, trust me. And I was like,
You're like, I'm
trust
glad I
you,
like it.
trust you. And I was like, I trust you, but do I trust her? That was the key right there. It was like, I trust you, but do I? And we had a chance to go on a trip together. And I'll never forget this mountain that we were climbing. And we had a chance to chat. And I think we just shared a lot about our journey, both of us. And you probably learned a lot about me, and I didn't even realize. And the metabolic reset was I just to me it was like I was walking with you on that mountain, and when you said trust the process, and I was like, yeah, I trust the process. But again, did I trust the process? I had to really ask myself, do I really trust the process? Because you can say it all day long, but if you don't feel it, it's not going to work. And
Yeah.
I just remember thinking, I'm walking along the edge of a cliff with you, and I'm just envisioning it. This didn't really happen, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm walking along, we're holding on to each other, and she's not gonna let me fall. And I was like, yeah, I trust her. I was like, okay, I will be your guinea pig, but I don't know how this is gonna work.
I wish
But
I think I'll post it whenever we in the group if you're okay with it later. But I was pulling it up, and I don't know if you can see this very well, but this is your entire
yep,
chart for the last 2 years, and this was the frustration piece that
yep,
she's talking about. It just stayed, and it was annoying
yep,
as hell, and it didn't
yep.
move,
And
didn't
look
move,
at,
didn't move. And I think this was right about the point that I said metabolic reset phase, and explained to her, and she's like,
I
"Fine,
was,
I'm gonna
yeah,
trust it. We're going up the mountain because it went up. The scale did go up,
it
and
sure
it
did. And I was pissed.
and she was pissed, but she trusted it. Because now look, and then it went down, down, down. And this obviously this is a very small chart, so it looks very drastic.
It
That,
does.
that was not overnight. Obviously, that took time, and then it was more. And then we took another dieting break, a metabolic
Yep.
reset. For those who are listening, it's a dieting break. I'm telling you, so many of you are stuck because you've dieted for way, way, way too long that your body
Mhm.
is done. Your metabolism said,
Yep.
screw this. I'm going to stay right
Yep.
here and I'm going to hold on to all the weight and the fat because you're not giving me a break and I'm exhausted and I'm burnt the
Yep.
hell out. Right. And so
Yeah.
that's what that is. And then
Yeah.
now she's here. She's at the lowest in over 10 years, you said, I believe, right?
Well, not
Somewhere
quite
around
just yet, but I weighed in on Saturday, the lowest I've been in years. But I haven't been at a goal weight in 10 years. But I just remember you having a call, and I don't even know who this person is that you were talking about, but you were describing somebody, and I was like, that is me. That is me. And I don't know if she's still coaching with you, but when you said that she had been dieting for years and just literally ruined her metabolism, I was like, that has to be me. And if I hadn't gone through this process of this metabolic reset, I would not believe it myself. I wouldn't. And I am so thankful that I trusted you and allowed you to help me along this journey. And there's other factors that play into why you can't lose, whether it's hormones or lack of sleep, or are you tracking really like you're supposed to be tracking, or are you grabbing things here, there, and whatever. I mean, whatever it is. um but I mean, I got to the point where I was like, something's got to give here. I need to do something different. I'm not supposed to be gaining like I am. And so so I'm at at the high point of my weight, and she increases my macros by like, I don't think it was over 100 calories. I was like, what?
there.
And the carbs, I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. And I went through the process, and I felt great, and I maintained, and I we went through a process, and I want to say, um I think it was 2 months. I think it was around 2 months. And I went on a trip, and I said, okay, I'm one more week and I'm ready. And we did. And I thought she was going to drop me like 250 calories. I was like, yep, let's go. Let's do this. Baby steps. Because she talks about baby steps, baby steps. Nope, she didn't drop me like that. And I was like, okay, well, so nothing. Scale didn't move. I'm like, okay, this is great. So another macro change, and little baby steps, and lose a little bit. And it took, I think, 3 macro changes to hit my sweet spot. And then all of a sudden, I was losing I think I lost for a period of like 8 weeks. I think it was almost 10 pounds. And then we
Wow,
rode that wave until it didn't do that, until it didn't lose anymore. And now, and then we went into the
great.
a second reset. And I think I got up as high as almost 1900 calories. And I was like, yeah, this is great. This is great. And then we went into another decline, and that's where I am now. And then I remember a couple weeks ago, you asked me, do right for the wedding, do you want another decrease? I would have jumped at that um before. I would have jumped at that because I love macro changes. I think it's motivating. I love new workouts. I think it's motivating. And whenever I was surprised that you offered that, and my gut told me no. And I couldn't believe that I said no. I don't want that. I don't, I think that's just going to add more. Like, I don't need that right now. What is a pound or two going to do for me? It's, it's fine. All of a sudden that week, I think I lost 3 pounds. Like I
Yep.
haven't lost 3 pounds in a week in years. And I was like, what is happening? I thought my scale was broken. I even mentioned that to you. I said, I think something's wrong with my scale because something's not right here. I'm losing in the middle of the week, and this is not how it usually works. But it was accurate because I'm still there.
You're, you're still
I'm
there,
still
which is awesome.
there. Yeah.
Love it. So
Yeah.
how do you feel like macros in general, like I know you've said it before when we are talking, like just macros has changed, been able to, it's literally changed your life. How, what, explain that a little bit. What does that mean for others to hear?
Well, if you've never, tracked macros or really truly dived, dived, dove into the whole process, trust it. Just try it and just see what it's like to track. It's an eye opener. And then you start to really um, realize what your body wants.
Hmm.
I It's been so eye-opening for me as to what my body likes, and I know what my body doesn't like. And I I feel the best that I have ever felt in my entire life. And the biggest change for me is because I felt like macro counting is my jam. I love it. I love doing the workouts. I do, doing all the things, but the biggest transformation for me is up here. It's here. I'm worthy of of having somebody tell me that I can do this. I'm worthy of investing in myself. And that has been the biggest piece of it all for me. Because losing quickly, I've done that. I can do that. I can't maintain it. And doing it this way along the process, it's just like anything in life. If you don't work hard for it, and if it just comes naturally to you, you really don't appreciate it. This I truly appreciate. But like I said, she's what I really wanted from this whole process was I needed the key, and the key was this. And that is the biggest piece for me. I don't even know if I answered your question, but
Well,
but
you did, but you hit on the next question is literally the biggest mindset shifts because I
yeah,
was just talking about this on our nutrition workshop too. Like there's five pieces of the puzzle, and your nutrition is a big piece of it with macros.
yeah,
But that second piece, which is the most important piece, and probably the thing that I love to see the biggest, I love the transformations when it comes to mindset, even more than the physical side,
yeah,
because it is so important. And macros and nutrition, and just getting to the place and being mentally okay with increasing your food and doing all the things. Like, man, that's been a lot of mindset shifts for you along the road. So, what would you say are your biggest mindset shifts that have just probably made the biggest impact on you throughout this whole journey?
1000% with honesty is trusting the process, because you can say it, but to actually feel like you can trust the process is the biggest mindset for me. And really just not being afraid to actually eat, not being afraid to actually try something new. If it's not working for you, then try something else. It can be the smallest tweak in what you're doing. I sleep well, but when I don't sleep well, it's like, you know, it throws everything off. And that is the other thing too, is like eat well, hydrate, work, walk, and it's like a cycle. And then it's like you sleep better, and it's just like a well-oiled machine. Um, so I would say that is the biggest thing, is like um is trusting the process. If I had not gone through this part of the journey, I'm not sure that I'd be where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because you can lose, you can get to a number on the, because she knows how I am with the number on the scale. Like she knows, like, I'm a scale person. I don't get on 50 times a day. I don't do that, but I need to know where I'm at, and I am not defined by the number on the scale, but darn it, it's like, I still, like, I still want to be at a good, healthy weight and maintain it. And that really is the ultimate goal for me, is like, I want to be able to be at goal and eat 2,000 calories. That to
Exactly.
me is like the ultimate goal for me, because I don't know when's the last time I've actually eaten consistently 2,000 calories a day and maintain weight. I don't think I've ever done that. And that
Yeah.
to me is like the ultimate goal.
And you will be there. I know it.
Oh
It's
yeah,
gonna
I will. Who knows how long it's going to take, but
exactly.
it's,
Yeah. And
yeah,
oh my gosh, I love that. I love that your biggest piece is trust the process. Because if you have a hard time trusting the process and you struggle, put the word trust in the comments, because there's so many women that are in that place right now. And they're like, okay, this macros thing, it sounds cool, sounds good. She tells me to eat more food. I can't tell you how many times if I had $1 for every time I told somebody that you need to eat more, you need to eat more, I'd be a millionaire just off that alone. Um, but trusting the process is not an easy task.
no.
It's my tattoo on my arm. Proverbs 3:5 is trusting in the Lord and not my own understandings. And it's the
Hmm.
same concept when it comes to your food. And
Yeah.
your food is so incredibly important piece of this. And if you have been in the 1,200-ish calorie diet for so long, y'all. I mean, we live in a society where that is the norm. I mean, we have doctors telling people every day to do that. I mean, you trust a doctor, right? Like you would think yeah, but that's not their specialty. And they don't tell you all the other things that go along with it, right? But you've got to really work hard on mindset every single day
Yeah.
so that you can trust that process. And
Yeah.
yes, like Suzanne said, we look at the scale every single day for her. And I'm a data person. I like to look at the average of the week, and then I'll tell her where she's actually at. If you just weigh in once in a while, you very likely could be incredibly frustrated, but you might never also just be incredibly bloated that your scale is showing up 4 pounds. And if you just look at that one number, then that's when people throw in the towel.
Hmm.
Not to say all of y'all that are watching have to look at the scale every single day. Everybody's different emotionally there, but it does give us that data that we need to just keep going through these phases, because
Right.
phases are huge. That metabolic reset phase that she's talking about, you guys, is really, it's a dieting break. It's giving your body a break. It is the remote control car battery coming off and plugging it in and letting it charge so that you can put it back on and that car can go again. That's what your metabolism is, and it needs a freaking break.
And you need
If
to
you
have patience. You really
Yes.
have to try, you really, that's where patience comes in, because you just, it's not going to always be the same. And, now I'm just so used to, my weight is up on Mondays and it goes up a little bit on Tuesdays, and then I might even out. And then today it was like, okay, I'm up again. And I'm like, why? Why? And it's like, okay, just hold on, because it my trend, I'm very
Your body is
predictable.
clockwork. Your
I'm
body's like
very predictable. And now that I cater on Saturdays, I already know my scale's going to be up on Sunday, because for some reason I'm on my feet like for 8 hours at a time. I'm gonna come home and I can feel the inflammation, and I wake up in the morning, I can feel the inflammation, and the scale is gonna reflect it a little bit. But if I wasn't in tune with my body and know my trend, that would frustrate me and just throw in the towel like I've done. I mean, I love food. So, and I've gone on very many binge tangents. And so it's like my body, I don't need that anymore. So there, there is hope in this whole process. And if it's just like, my inbox is always open. If anybody ever wants to reach out to me, that I am happy to chat with anybody. I feel like I've tried everything under the planet, and I mean, I can just listen. I can just listen and just know that there is hope for you. And that's, yeah, for sure.
drop the word hope in the comments, and just to highlight, if y'all didn't see the title of this whole topic, like she literally just also had a 60th birthday and is accomplishing this. And I love to point that out. And I know you're not shy at letting me share that, because age is just a freaking number. And I think society has also created us to all think like, oh, after 40, like everything falls apart, and things do get different. But it does not. There's so many of our clients that I've worked with over the years that is in the best shape of their lives in their 50s and 60s. And it's never too late to get started either. Some literally didn't start weight training until they hit 50s. I mean, it's
Pretty
never too
much. Hmm.
is I mean, if you got hope from listening to her story today, just put the word hope in the comments. And like she said, she's one of the sweetest souls ever. Is will breathe life into you and give you a little hope if you reach out to her, just so you can hear from someone else besides just listening to me as the coach. I know sometimes it's good to talk to someone else that's been through it and that understands those freaking frustrations of feeling so incredibly stuck, but they're on the other side, and you give so many people hope. So thank you for sharing. One piece of advice for any of the women listening, what would you say to that person that maybe hops in your inbox?
That you're uh, invest in yourself. If you feel hopeless and if you feel like you need another way, then invest in yourself. It's not something that like I know I'm not going to be here forever, but I want to do this forever. Like I want to coach forever. But I mean, is that realistic? No, but invest in yourself. And I'm so thankful that I did. Not only did I learn a lot, but I feel like I've got a lifelong friend in you, Angela, because it's just been like I was drawn to you for a reason, and it was just, I don't know, you're my people. And yeah, there's hope, you know, and and you're worthy of it for sure.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah,
But I am worthy in the comments, because yeah, you are. I
yeah.
remember, yeah, it's a struggle. So many women don't believe that truly, that they are worthy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or that they can do it. Maybe
Yeah.
it's the trust in yourself to follow through with an actual program. A lot
Yeah.
of women are in our programs that one of their biggest wins is the fact that they stuck through it and they're still here and they haven't quit like they normally do anything else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Try it.
so, yeah,
Just try it and just see for yourself. And one of the highlights of my week are Saturday mornings. I can't wait to get my notification from from you, because I just love just it's just a little update of where we are and where we're going, and just reinforcement. It's reinforcement, and even just sharing pictures. And I look at the pictures and go, "Oh," and then she points out certain things and is like, okay, all right, now I see it. Okay, yeah, I see it. But if you were to do it without someone really pointing out all those things, uh, you were just, I don't like what I'm seeing. But
yeah,
having, and just take the leap of faith and trust the process and know that there is hope and that you're worthy of it.
yes, yes. I love that. Awesome. Well, definitely, thank you so much for sharing. And those of
Of
y'all
course.
watching, if you're in that place again, like she said, she's an open book, and she's willing to share. My inbox is always open. We are getting ready to launch our next accelerator program. That's a group coaching. Suzanne and I work one-on-one closer together, which we have that option as well too. If you're in a
Mhm.
place you're like, okay, it's time that I get some help, then drop help in the comments or get in my inbox. We'll chat about your options. We'd love to have you and help you have your own journey, because I'd say it's a journey like Suzanne's, which you could very likely have. Yours maybe or will be
Mhm.
completely different because it's your own body and your own journey. Could be faster, could take longer. You just don't really ever know. But
No.
um, get help. One of the biggest mistakes I ever made in life and health and business was trying to do it on myself for way too long. And the best investments have always ended up being truly so rewarding, even with the
Mhm.
health coach coach. Because yes, I know what to do, when to do, and how to do it, but I have a health coach that I lean on very often. We'll go back to him whenever I need him. We're human. We all need a little bit of extra help and a little bit of support. So, well, if y'all give Suzanne some love in the comments, tag her and tell her thank you. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for your time. I know your lunch break is coming to an end, so we'll let you
Sure.
go. Otherwise, I could talk to you forever.
Same.
But thank you very much for sharing and just pouring hope into the ladies that got a
Oh,
chance to.
thank you. I appreciate, again, I'm truly honored that you would, that you asked me to share. And I always say, use me and abuse me, talk, I'm willing to share, and I'm just thankful that it's truly a privilege to, come on here and share. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much. You enjoy
you're
the rest of
welcome.
the day, and you all have a great one as well too.
You as well. All right.
Bye.
Bye.